Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to our players and to whoever might watch this at some point in time, either right now or maybe later on. We will post this on our YouTube channel. It is another episode of Character Choices. This crazy chance that we have to get together to roll some dice to make some character choices and to do it all in pursuit of the greatest story ever rolled. Because yeah, that's what we do. We are I think kind of clearly a little more story focused, or at least character focused, because of we've been in some encounters, some combats. I think we probably spent the majority of our time just kind of hanging out and talking to people and doing other stuff like that. And so it's how we roll. But that may change over the next little while, because the goal is to smash you as hard as I can before we wrap up this kind of arc of the campaign, because it just doesn't feel right if I don't. So, but we'll see how things go. But we are excited to be here, and I don't know that we really are going to spend too much time doing announcement-y things at this point. We are going to really just, I think, dive in. And I'm going to do it with just a quick recap of the last episode. You all started in the in Quaylen's Rest, the tavern side of his establishment, the established Pandar Quaylen, the Baron. And he was finishing discussing with you what you had done and found and discovered, and you guys finished negotiating sort of your relationship. Your relationship is kind of growing and adjusting and changing with him over time. Initially, he invested in you with some healing potions, and he was very excited by the news that you brought back and offered you continued support and patronage by offering you free room and board at Quaylen's Rest, which is a pretty nice place, seeing as it's on the frontier of the wilderness. That, along with what's left of those healing potions and the ability to negotiate or continue to sort of revisit your relationship kind of financially with him over the next little while. You all agreed to do so, and most of you went to bed relatively quickly. Wicket, you gave Adam a tune-up, for which he was very grateful, and helped ease you into sleep. Pim, you slept fitfully, but not supernaturally fitfully, which is a good thing at this point. Bitsy, you crashed. You just, got some good sleep. After hanging out with Anasriele for a little while, who was determined to out-party you. And she did, in fact, toddle off alone into Baron Hold in the middle of the night to find a bit more excitement, a bit more interest. She was looking for something to kind of entertain her more than just the quiet and cozy sort of common room of Quaylen's Rest, and she found it in the form of a kind of outdoor octagon fight outside of an establishment called Bandyman's Bounty. There she saw men fighting. She was approached by Bandyman himself, Baron Bandyman, but not Baron, Beren, and talked him into letting you fight in the ring, which you did. And you did manage to put poor Jim down. It sounds like chat, at least the chat of our players here in the background, was highly active during the fight, and they all lost everything that was dearest to them, from what I recall. Because they all bet on Jim for some reason. I don't know what that has to say. That's out of character, and Anasriele can try and maybe find that out in game, and then you guys can all have a big old therapy session about what that means about your relationships together, that they all bet on Jim. But you did come away victorious, and you landed firmly. You already kind of had, but you landed firmly at that point on the radar, Bandyman. Owner and proprietor of a store, of a troop of bandymen, Men, Kenku, who are gatherers and tellers of the news. And also, after talking to him for a moment, it seems, potentially he's like, you got a sense that he is like somewhere into the shallows, at least, of shadiness, if that makes sense, in terms of sort of a black market style shadiness here in the outpost. He pitched you on potentially having a few things drop off your wagon, so to speak, on the way to reporting at the Oath House when you find them, and that he would be willing to pay top dollar for them should that arise. You weren't overly keen, and he attempted to sweeten the pot by giving you additional information, or at least the potential for different information. You persuaded him to part with a little information that he had on the Feywild, which you brought up to him, asking a man who obviously has access to information about it. You rolled very well. And he told you that he had indeed heard of it, but it is a very fringe sort of thing, that there is potentially a connection between the absence of places like the Feywild and potentially other places that sit outside of our kind of world. Connection between those and the mythal that was placed up around Andromor 1,000+ years ago that separated it from the world. That's the scuttlebutt he's heard through religious quarters. And he heard it in particular from a woman that he put you onto named Lara, who had apparently been close to a sorceress named Sisteramin, who's now holed up in a tower in the city of Churn's End off of Lake Gyrian. And she's locked the tower down, and since the Bower King has re-arrived, he took over the city but has not been able to get into the tower. And so it's a bit tricky, but if you wanted to know more, you'd have to try and find some way to communicate with this Lara inside of this tower. He also tells you that if magic is what you seek, that there is a place outside of Baronhold here in the Wyverwood that somebody that he knows was able to reach and bring back information about before being turned back by what you guys know to be sprites and pixies, etc. And that it seemed to be a place that might have been the home of a vassal or a lord during the time of the original Baron here, and seemed to potentially have quite a bit of loot or treasure, maybe some magical items hanging around in it. You tried to get him to just tell you where it was, but he wasn't having it, and told you that he'd need a bit more commitment from you before he was willing to do it. But he would give it to you if you committed and if you were willing to cut him in on some of whatever it is that you found there. And that's basically where you ended the night with him, and you went back. Akerly, you managed to get Dawn settled in, and in the process stumbled across Cole and some of his friends, a couple of boys named Paul and Druin, and a girl named Jen that you've met before, playing Knight's Fallow in a sense in the barn. And he expressed his interest in being a squire to you at some point. He actually helped to comb and brush and bed down Dawn for the night. And you managed to get some studying in on a couple of things that you had to study. The next morning, you all went to report with the Oath Taker, and arrived there and managed to impart your tale after having been tethered in a way via your chimas to a new kind of magical contraption that gauged the truth or not. It was a long and grueling situation. You went relatively early in the morning, but it was a solid several hours, at least probably 4 hours solid of you telling stories, him asking clarifying questions, and you all decided to be relatively truthful, most of you. I think Wicket was probably the most hesitant to be super open by her nature. And
after all of Wicket's like, we should tell the truth.
Right.
Then she got into it and she's like, never mind.
Yep. And she didn't necessarily hold a ton back, but was very hesitant feeling. But you seemed to do really well overall when he pulled the codex rod that was produced by this magical apparatus after you guys had told your story. He activated it, and it rang relatively true, the tone of it representing the purity and the relative truth and accuracy of your tale. He was impressed by that. And so was Davet, apparently, because you all received additional spells. You each now have 2 spells in your Kaima on top of the other spells or features that you have access to. And it seems that your offering is accepted, and you're beginning to establish a bit of a name for yourself here in Baronhold among the Hallow Guard, the Oath Taker, and others who are becoming aware of you and proud of you, and a variety of different things. And we ended there relatively. He did check in with Akerly to make sure Akerly was studying. He was glad to hear that she was, and told her to continue. And he did show quite a bit of interest in the information you had, in particular about the lost nation of Endelwyn, which is one of the main pillars of the Oath Takers, the noblest cause of the Bower King. And then Levin walked you out, and that's where we left off. So you're about halfway through the day. He did give you the codex rod that was produced and told you to take it to the armory of the Hallow Ward, and that there they would be able to kind of turn it into a true sort of compensation, because that is the system that's been developed. They've invited people in from outside of Andromar to become venturing hands and to be compensated after turning everything in and helping to return everything that they would compensate you for it. And this codex rod being taken towards the armory would be the way to work that out and to do it. So this is where we will pick up. And so the story goes: you exit the house of Davet, the offices of the Oath Taker, into the main kind of main section of the building, and then out into the yard. And I will turn it over to you. What do you all want to do from here?
Do you want to just head straight for the armory, or do we have anything else we're wanting to do before that?
I have no plans. This was the plan. Now we have a list of to-dos, so we can make that the plan if we want to make that the plan.
That works for me.
Let us depart.
Let us depart. Okay, so y'all are heading towards the armory?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sounds like a plan. You're actually already in the Hallow Ward of the city. So the Oath Taker's office, the kind of House of Davet here, where the Oath Taker is holed up. The office of the stanchion commander of the River Gate, Sevik, that you met. And also the armory is all sort of in this section of Baronhold. Let me see if I've got that. I've got kind of a basic map of. I don't know if I set it up with. Well, of course, I would think that I would have it and then not have it. Okay, never mind. It is in the sort of, I would say, southeast, southwest kind of corner of Baronhold, across the way from Quaylen's Rest and so forth, that you've kind of entered into this. The River Gate's not far away. Again, you enter this, you kind of exit the house where the Oath Taker is. You enter into a sort of yard outside, still within a sort of stockade. Exit the stockade into the rest of the Hallow Ward, and you follow the directions that you're given until you reach another building. It is a building that is completely stone. They have taken great pains to rebuild whatever was here, and to fill in all of the crumbled and missing pieces of this building with actual stone that's been pulled from the landscape around. And it seems to be a very strong and relatively fortified box of a building. It's nothing fancy per se. It looks to be very functional and relatively secure. As you approach it, there are a couple of guards standing outside. These are members of the Hallow Guard, both of them elven in appearance, the same sort of blue-skinned, light-haired, kind of platinum-haired elves of Rionia in the north. And they nod and greet you as they see you approach, and they spy the chimas upon your hand. They see the codex rod in your hand, and they give you the okay to enter in through the front door of this building, which you do. You enter the door and into an open sort of foyer area, and you see another member of the Hallow Guard, an elven woman with kind of short done hair, but kind of spiky and kind of done up in an interesting sort of pixie cut kind of vibe, wearing the armor of the Hallow Guard, the tabard of the Hallow Guard, but holding what appears to be a sort of clipboard type setup with paper and stuff on it, and a quill, and you can see an ink bottle is set inside of a little groove inside of this kind of portable clipboard holder that she has. As she kind of looks up in your direction as you enter into this foyer, and she looks up, all business, her kind of deep navy blue eyes looking at you, and says, state your name. The name of your group will work just fine.
I'm just gonna turn around to the group and just get them.
We've still not decided on a name.
Group name?
Maybe we could make an acronym with all of our names.
No.
We all know you like acronyms.
I'm just gonna turn back around and say, we don't really have a group name yet, but my name is Pim, and I'm gonna just point to the rest of them.
She kind of nods at you, looks down, and sees the Kaima. Noted. It will make it easier for us to conduct our business if there is a name by which I can associate all of you, so that we know by sight, by just our general knowledge, who belongs with who, and can refer to you without having to refer to each of you, all of you, each time. So perhaps something to work on before you return next time. I would highly recommend. What's that?
We could also go by Baywop, or Baypa, or Pawab, or Paba, or...
We'll work on it.
I'll let you work on it for next time.
I vote just him and friends.
And she says she writes down. She kind of mumbles as she does. Pim writes your name down and looks at you. And group. She puts for now. You're here to have your accounting and kind of collection take place, I'm assuming. Glances down at the codex rod. Who had it? I forget who she gave it to. I'd have to go back and
Pim
look.
has it.
Probably Pim.
Is it me? I can't remember.
It is. I wrote it down. I'm
Okay.
looking at the notes. You have it.
I
Right.
have it.
Very well. You will take that down the hall, and she points to an opening that leads into a hallway that kind of goes right down smack dab down the center of this very salt box style building. It's just several stories, divided into kind of straightforward rooms. And you'll go down that hallway, and you'll take the third door on the right, knock before entering, and only enter when you hear that you've been accepted to enter. And I will see you again on the way out. She kind of turns and goes about her business, expecting you all to follow her instructions. Is there any reason you would not?
I'm gonna start heading down the hall. I'm assuming everyone else is following.
You are the leader, so awesome.
Following the leader, the leader, the leader.
Okay. You go back down the hallway to the third door on the right, and you see a sign hanging above the door, a simple sort of wooden sign that's had these letters sort of burned into it. It says armory on it. And there's a large wooden door that is closed at the current moment. You all knock.
I'm gonna knock.
You could kick the door down if you wanted. I mean, it depends on how you want to make the entrance. Right. So you knock.
Yeah.
You hear a voice from the other side relatively quickly come through the door and say, "This better be good."
Someone had a bad day.
Oh, I assure you it is.
He pauses, or the voice pauses. "Who is it?"
Timiver and friends.
You hear some footsteps and the doorknob turns, the door opens kind of really brusquely, just kind of gets pulled open. And you look into the room. Pim, if you're in front, you actually look maybe just a little up from where you are, but you see a relatively short form in front of you who appears to be a female woman. She has very kind of blunt features, kind of a wide face, kind of a flat nose, and kind of tan skin, with her hair pulled back behind her into a very sort of utilitarian kind of ponytail. And you can see that she has got kind of meaty kind of forearms and shoulders, short, stocky legs. She's wearing over her kind of basic clothing what appears to be a vest. As you look a little closer, you can see that it looks like a very hardy vest, as if it could possibly be armor of some sort. It has a very, very military feeling to it, even though it seems sort of thin and vest-like in its appearance. And she's got a bit of a scowl on her face as she looks up at you, and a general air of discontent, and kind of peers at you. "Are you a venturing hand? Is that what you're here for?"
Yes, we were given a codex. They told us to bring it here.
"I don't know you. You new?"
Relatively.
"I mean, relatively. I've never seen you before, so you must be..."
We're new. I mean, we're new to this, yes.
"Okay, well, let's get this over with then. Come in." And she turns and kind of stalks off into the room before you. And you can see that there's a relatively short, kind of a not a very deep room. It goes back maybe 10 or 15 feet and is a bit of a rectangle box. And there's a kind of a counter with kind of wooden countertops off to one side and a central, almost like a podium with like a flat stone kind of top that's angled down, almost like a pulpit in some ways. And you see her kind of disappear. She opens up kind of a counter. There's doors in the back that are closed. She goes through like a bar counter almost, and then she like disappears, and then you see her head pop up as she climbs some steps to the top of this little pulpit thing. And she kind of looks at you and kind of waves you forward, and expects you to kind of draw near. What's your group's name?
I'm going to turn to Wicket and say, Wicket.
It's Waybop.
No.
Apparently it's Waybop.
Oh.
She kind of looks up.
This is the end.
She looks up, looks right at you, Wicket, with kind of a squint in her eyes. Spell it.
W-A-B-A-P.
We're not Waybop.
Wait, what's that?
W-A-B-A-P. It's actually an acronym, so it stands for Wicket. Wicket actually stands for Waywalket, Urkel, Carling, Cribby, Temple.
It's an acronym inside of an acronym.
And then it goes Acrelay after that, and then B for Bitsy, and then A for Anasriele, and then P for Timiver.
She glowers a little bit again, looks around at all of you kind of sharply. "I've heard worse." And she kind of puts down and she spells out Waybap onto the thing. Waybap it is.
You guys have a great name.
Really couldn't care less what we call you.
Permanent?
What's that?
Is the name permanent when you like write it down?
Once it's in the book, it's in the book.
Good to know. Good to know. Good stuff. Good stuff.
She looks up with a squint at you, and you see half a smile kind of crack her face as she looks at you. Just kidding. You can change it anytime you want. Just let me know. I wouldn't go around telling too many people in the Hallow Guard too many different versions of your name, or it'll get confusing. So you might want to let everyone know if you change it.
We better just stick with way back then.
I'll call you Waybap until you tell me to call you something else. How about that?
Waybap is just really awful. No offense to Wicked. I love acronyms. I think it's a great acronym, not a great team name.
I think it's a great name. It's fun.
It's a good acronym.
And
you have a great name. We don't have a great name. We have a good acronym. But
personally, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's got all the letters. It'll remind you who's in it. It's very useful, and there's nothing wrong with something being useful.
I mean, useful. It's meant to be moving and powerful, and like the stuff you read in the books. We want to be the main characters,
Yeah, and one day people will come to fear way back.
Yeah. I'm sure they will, kid. I'm sure they will. I'm shaking in my boots already back here, she says to you.
You should be.
She looks back down at you, Bitsy, after you say what you said, and she said, let me give you some advice, kid. Main characters are not. Life is life. You go through it. You make the best you can of what you're given. You do what you do. And you come out or you don't. Main characters are not. Life is life. And you got to just get through it. And it looks back up at all of the rest of you. Be as romantic as you want, but do it somewhere else.
I will say, I'm already really connected way back, but it does sort of sound like a different thought.
Something real spicy. Something that punches you in the gut, right?
There we go.
You just keep saying it and it grows on you, and then it sounds normal. Wicked didn't sound like a name until everyone said it for a few years.
Few years?
Yeah, I mean like the first year or so. And then some people took a little longer. And then there was this one little twerp in our village that was just really mean all the time, but I made him stop being mean after a while, and now he doesn't call me names anymore.
I'm gonna look a little scared.
This small woman looks at you as you say that, Wicked, and you see her kind of and nod in approval as you say that you shut up this twerp that was bothering you. That's right. Well, let's see how you did. And she holds her hand up at you expectantly.
I hand her the codex rod.
Thank you. And she picks it up, and she puts it down towards the stone top of this pulpit tablet, and you see as it sinks in to the kind of top corner edge of it. And as you do, there's a bit of a flare of light, and you see her actually reach into her pocket, and she comes out with basically what appears to be kind of a thimble, but it has a point on it that kind of arches out, almost like a fingernail kind of. You see her reach up kind of and tap the top of the crystal that's in the end of the codex rod. And you can hear, after it sinks in, you hear the same tone that you heard after you told your story, and it was checked by Losant. This kind of pure sort of tone of truth. And as soon as she does that, the tone rings out, her eyes widen, and then words appear kind of in the stone surface of the tablet, just like when you use your codex rod, Akerly, across the top. And you see her kind of eyes widen, and she looks at all of you again, and then she looks down and she kind of skims through kind of what's written on the thing, and then looks back up at you, and then back down again and keeps skimming. And after a minute of skimming, you see that you hear her kind of whispering to herself, either very honest or very successful, or both. She kind of looks back up at you. She looks angrier now. So, I guess now is when I have to reward you for what you've done, and this is where you take my stuff. Yeah, this is the part I hate. Let's get this part over with. And there's actually a knock on the door as at about this point. Who is it? Just needed to drop something off. Make it quick. And the door kind of opens. You see kind of a younger girl come in, and enter in carrying kind of a stack of kind of papers and items. And you see as she walks across the room to set these on the desk, her eyes are on this female, the person that's been dealing with you. And you see her eyes just kind of wide and doughy, and she's just like watching as she sets the sheaf of papers on the thing and kind of backing up, but like watching her at all times. This look of complete and utter adoration on her face as she stares at this woman. At a certain point, the woman looks up at her and she kind of snaps, "Is there anything else I can help you with?" And she jumps a little bit and kind of looks like a smile across her face. No, that'll do it, unless there's something else I can do for you." And you see the woman kind of shake her head. "No, that's fine. I'm good. Just be gone." And the girl kind of returns and exits the door and pulls it shut behind her. And you hear her kind of grumbling to herself as she kind of continues to read through.
Not easy to have admirers, is it?
And looks up at you. "They're the worst." "You got admirers?" she says.
Oh, I'm sure. All over.
Do you hate them as much as I do?
It depends. It really depends on why they admire me.
That's exactly the problem. I mean, it's not like I didn't earn it. I mean, I've done some stuff, but they admire me more for who I know than who I am, I think, and that just really bothers me. And she kind of goes...
That does sound tedious.
Back down to kind of reading through this material. Eventually she kind of finishes her way through it, looks back up. "Well, you done good, it seems like." You see her kind of do this, and you hear it just like as her knuckles pop, and then she kind of like does this with her fingers and pops them again. You can see that she actually has tattoos on her fingers across each of these. On the right hand, it's STAB, stab, and on the left, it's GRAB, grab. So she's got the tattoo stab and grab on her hands as she kind of pops her neck and says, "Okay, well, it says here that I owe you either 150 gold pieces each, or 250 gold pieces worth of credit for some of what we got holed up here in the armory. When we get stuff into the armory, we keep a lot of it. If it's got any sort of historical or cultural value, we hang tight to it. We usually will have it examined for a while, and we shuffle it off over to Alteran or one of the big cities that they're in right now for them to be able to catalog it, start putting all the culture-y things back together. Don't know much about it. Some of the rest of the stuff that doesn't matter culturally, we hang on to. And so we do have a few things here, and you could apply a little extra towards some of those things if you'd like, or you can take the gold and figure things out on your own.
I'd like to know what you have here.
Me too.
Do you have like the cool? Do you have someone who could do cool tattoos on my knuckles?
What would you put on it? Waybop?
No, I don't have enough knuckles.
She looks up at you, kind of squints. I mean, I'm sure you'd find somebody willing to put a little ink on you here in town. Pick any back alley, you'll probably find someone. She kind of looks at you again, and she's like, "I guess if you catch me at the right time out of here, I can maybe do something for you. I'm pretty handy with the ink. Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that for you. You got to make me a promise if I do, though."
What?
She like looks up as she hears people screaming in the background. Whatever you do, whatever you find out about me, just treat me normal, please.
Okay, deal.
She nods. Nice to meet you. She kind of
would go around with my earrings here.
What's that?
I think we should do something that goes along with my cool earrings here.
Yeah, we could make something work. Why don't you jot something down? You can do a little sketch for me, and then we'll hook back up and figure out when to do it when I'm off shift. She puts her hand out across the thing for you. By the way, forgot to ask, and so did you. My name's Pohlun. What's yours?
Hi. My name's Wicket. Waywalker Ergo Colin Cribby Eliwick Templetuck Timbers, but you can call me Wicket.
Yeah, I'll call you Wicket. It sounds about right. I guess you did kind of tell me that. And she looks at the rest of you. And who are you?
Anasriele Makir.
That's a very lovely name, Anasriele.
Thank you.
I'm the bee in Waybop.
The bee in Waybop. You know that's going to stick now, right? No, like literally.
It would be weird.
Every time I see you, I'm going to call you the bee in Waybop.
That's really funny. That's really, really funny. And I think it's a great joke, except it's a little too close to home at the moment. So excuse me if I don't laugh.
That's okay. I hardly ever laugh. You're in good company. Oh. And you, she looks up at you, Akerly.
Akerly. Just Akerly.
Okay. There's the A. I guess we're just missing the P. And she looks at you. Pim, I'm trying to think now.
Don't know who knows that.
I know.
None of ours.
Yeah. You've definitely been in and out of here. Yeah, roll me just a general intelligence check. D20 plus your intelligence modifier.
Okay.
You've never actively talked to this person or gotten to know them, but I'm trying to see if you maybe just have a memory of or remember seeing them around or.
I've been 19.
Awesome. Yep. You've probably heard, you've probably seen this person around over the last little while, and you have been here long enough to have heard the stirrings when she comes around. This is Pohlun Halfhand of the Half-Hands, who are the four friends closest to the Bower King himself. It is known by some that he himself was part of an old kind of squad of very close friends, and that they were all part of the experience of leaving, finding reinforcements, finding a way to weaken the mythal and come back again. And so, in a sense, she is kind of one of the handful of BFFs of the Bower King. So you have heard tell of her, and you've heard tell that she is half halfling and half dwarf. She is a quarterling, and that makes her very unique, for sure. So yeah, and there's a variety of other ones you had heard in passing, in particular that there's a bard running around somewhere, although you don't know much about her. And you also know that there is an orc or a half-orc who is stationed at Uranus, the gateway, kind of where people are coming in, an old ancient city where people are coming into Andromar. Akerly and Wicket, you passed through Uranus, and you actually spent some time with this guy, although you don't know this about him because this is all in Pimiver's head. So on your way in. But anyway, so... Yeah, so she says, she gets done talking to you about this and asking your names. Well, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, if you just treat me like a regular old Jim, then we'll be friends. So we'll get along just fine. We will, and I won't hold it against you if you're real active and real useful, and you end up cleaning me out on the regular. That's fine. Anyway, So what do you want? What you gonna take? You can each decide on your own. You want the 150 gold pieces and kind of walk away, or if you want 250 in credit.
I'd like to hear 3 examples of what you have here for credit.
He looks up at you. Sounds good. Sounds good. Are you more in the market for weapons, or are you in the market for maybe some basic? I mean, 250 gold pieces. Really, some basic magical items. We got a couple things around. Most of the big ones have been shipped out, but we've got a few things around that might fall into that realm.
Both sounds good.
Would you mind showing us around?
She looks at you. Yeah.
What about a magical weapon? Do you have one of those?
Okay, why not? And she steps down and she kind of pops the countertop open and says, "Come with me." And she steps back and lets you guys all pass through. And she goes up to one of the doors, which upon closer inspection, you realize are actually like vault doors. They are made of metal and they are hanging inside of a stone face, and looks very sturdy. And they are completely unadorned and don't even have a handle on them. All they have is just one little bit of crystal sitting at the center of it. And she reaches up with the same little kind of thimble-y thing on her finger, and she taps that little crystal at the center of the vault. And with a flash, veins of energy kind of ripple out across the face of the metal door. And there's kind of a... and it kind of opens towards the inside. And she says, "Follow me, hands off everything," and takes you inside. And yeah, you step into a room. It is another box of a room, completely built of stone, floor, ceiling, and walls. And you can see that it is lined along all the edges with shelving, shelves on the walls, and kind of tables and things that hold a variety of things. And then in the center of the room are more shelves, like stacks in a library, all of which hold a variety of different things. Yeah, right off the bat, you do get a sense that there is a decent amount of weapons in here, although most of them just seem like kind of run-of-the-mill short swords. There's some long swords, there's some bows, some crossbows, that all seem kind of standard, sort of normal. And she kind of moves you through these. As she does so, she'll turn and sort of look back at you, and she'll turn and look back at you as she kind of walks and says, "Do you need any standard weapons, or are you all geared up in terms of normal weapons?"
Pretty geared up.
Pretty geared up. Okay, so we'll skip right past the basics, the basic weapons then, if that's okay with you all. And we'll move to the back here. So, okay, you said you wanted to look at weapons and also non-weapon things?
Non-weapon thing.
Okay. Okay, so she is going to show you around and just kind of describe some things as she goes. She takes you towards a shelf that has a few swords hanging on it. she looks at them, looks back at you, and says, "Do you have any extra gold on you, or just what you've earned today?"
I've got like gems and jewels and stuff.
Well, I suppose we could take a look if we need to. And then she looks back. Most of these here are pretty decent items. One of them here is actually pretty rare, if you know what I mean. It's called a Sword of Sharpness. And when you hit somebody with this and deal damage, it's going to basically do about as much damage as you can do. And the way that it works is that if you hit with this sword, it maximizes your weapon damage. You don't even have to roll dice. You just do whatever the max damage you could do when you roll the dice. Problem is, it's about 1,200 gold pieces to pick one of these puppies up. So you might have to go on a couple more trips to be able to come back. Now that I look at it, a lot of the stuff here is going to probably be outside of what you've got there in terms of basic things. There might be a few things, a few magic items here that might be worth it for you. She kind of keeps moving back through the thing. Let's see, 250 gold piece credit. She passes a what looks to be a javelin, sort of long javelin. And it's kind of shaped in a way that makes it resemble a lightning bolt. She tells you that it's the javelin of lightning, and as she describes it, you know that when you hurl it and speak a command word, it transforms into a bolt of lightning, forming a line 5 feet wide that extends out from you to a target within 120 feet. And each creature in the line, excluding you and the target, must make a saving throw or take 46 lightning damage on a failed save and half as much damage on a successful one. Now, I'd have to double check. This is going to be, I'll have to check the kind of weapon it is, and you'd want to probably check and see if you are proficient with this type of weapon before making a choice on it. This here is only 150 gold pieces, so that would be something that might be an option for you, and we can make sure if you're interested in it that you're proficient with it. Let's see, what else do we have here? I actually kind of have a list here. I'm just going through and seeing what's kind of in your guys' range. Hold on one second. She gets to a section where there are some magic items hanging out, and you can see that one of the shelves holds some jewelry on it, and she points at this jewelry and says, one in particular, and says, "This one right here might be in striking distance for you. It'd take the whole 250 gold pieces that you have, but it's a ring of water walking. If you put this on, you can walk on water." And it makes it handy in a pinch. In fact, you can walk on any liquid surface as if it were solid ground, and depending on what sorts of liquid that you run into. So that might be something up your alley. We've got a ring of warmth, which I'm not sure that'll do you a whole lot of good. Gives you resistance to cold damage and things if you're going somewhere cold. Ring of swimming right here. This will let you go in the water, but it'll let you go faster if you're in the water. Normally, you get slowed down. This speed, right? It gives you a swimming speed of 40 feet while you're wearing it. Let's see. we got a few oddball items. I don't know if you'd be interested in them or not. She kind of eyes you guys up a bit. Any of you guys ride horses?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Conversate, yeah.
She looks kind of at you oddly. Okay. To each their own, she says. She kind of rounds a corner, and you can see that there's a small sort of wooden stand that has what looks to be a saddle thrown over the top of it. This here is a saddle. It's got a bit of an enchantment on it, called the Saddle of the Cavalier. When you're riding in this saddle, you can't be knocked off your horse at all, ever. Can't be dismounted, and anybody who attacks you is going to have disadvantage on the attack rolls while you're mounted on your horse. And this here is only 150 gold pieces, if it's something that you're interested in. Yeah. Well, beyond that, let's see what else I'm cool with them having. I mean, this one's a bit strange. You may or may not be interested in it. He kind of pulls you around to another place with a kind of a case that's wooden but has two glass doors on it, and she opens the doors, and you can see some things kind of perched inside. A couple of feathers, some sort of largish looking, interesting looking feathers in here. And she points at one in particular. And this one, it looks like a feather, but it also sort of kind of looks a bit like a tree in the way that it's shaped, like a kind of tiny looking tree, but it's a feather shaped in that way. And she explains to you, it's called Qual's Feather Token Tree. You have to be outdoors to use this. You use an action to touch this to a ground in an unoccupied space. The token disappears, and in its place, a non-magical oak tree springs into existence. The tree is 60 feet tall and has a 5-foot diameter trunk, and its branches at the top spread out in a 20-foot radius. It just immediately grows a rather large non-magical oak tree, wherever it is that you decide to put it. Any takers?
Is it like a one-time use thing, or like a?
From what I understand,
over and over and over again, you can create like 100 big pints. You know?
It'd probably be worth more if it could do that. So, but maybe one last thing that I've got here for you, and I'm cherry picking here because most of the stuff in here is going to require you to maybe save up and come back at this point. One last thing, and she takes you around a corner, and you can see a horn, a kind of striking looking horn that looks like it came off of something. Largish. It curls out, and it's this kind of ivory color with silver bands around it, and tells you that it's a horn of blasting. You can use an action to speak the horn's command word and then blow the horn, which emits a thunderous blast in a 30-foot cone that is audible 600 feet away. Each creature in the cone must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes 5d6 thunder damage and is deafened for 1 minute. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage and isn't deafened. Creatures and objects made of glass or crystal have disadvantage on the saving throw and take 10d6 thunder damage instead of 5d6 thunder damage. Each use of the horn's magic has a 20% chance of causing the horn to explode. The explosion deals 10d6 fire damage to the blower and destroys the horn. Beyond that, I think most of the stuff in here is probably going to be a bit above the pay grade, unless you come back with a bit more. So you could always save up what you've got, come back, and when you've got a little bit more, we can open up a few more things here, or you can take the cash and head on out if you'd like.
I mean, I'll take the saddle. I mean, John's been looking for an upgrade.
Okay.
That horn sounded really cool.
And
We have a whole bunch of spenders amongst our midst.
I'm interested in the sword, so I'll come back.
Okay. Sounds good. One saddle, check. And the horn?
Yeah.
Okay, and that'll take
The
your...
potentially dangerous one Wicked goes for.
So I can't.
I mean, she picks up a pickaxe that causes her to throw up. Why not a horn that might blow up in her face
She's
too?
addicted to mysterious magical items.
That might destroy her.
I'm gonna improve it.
Okay, sounds good. Is everybody else going to hang on to what they got?
So can I do credit and then come back with the rest of it?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll
Right.
make sure that everything's loaded on to this here, and she holds up the codex rod. This will be loaded up here with the information about what you used and what's left. It'll have the sort of tally of this session with you. Just keep it on you if there's a credit left on.
I think that I'm interested in the ring.
Okay,
What did the queen do again?
the ring of water walking.
Yeah.
That was the other thing that I was thinking
Yeah.
about.
I mean, you own a boat.
Yeah. I feel like it's something I'll use.
Right. Okay. That gonna be it?
I would also like to save my credit, please.
Okay, so you're gonna save the whole 250.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're
Yeah,
gonna
you
take the
call me
credit
artist
and save
or-
it. And Anasriele's gonna take the credit and save it.
Congrats.
Beth's gonna take the credit and spend it. Sorry, I said Beth. Wicked's gonna take the credit and spend it all on the horn.
It cost 250?
Yes, I actually
Okay.
kind of gave you a deal on it.
Okay, that's fine.
I like what you did to that bully that you had back in the day. And Pim's is going to cost the whole credit as well, and then Akerly, you'll have like 100 in credit left. Okay, so write down that you have the saddle, Akerly, that you've got the horn of blasting, Wicket. Pim, you've got the ring of water walking. And the other two of you, make sure that you write down that you have $250 in credit for the armory. And the
What is my
Halloward.
thing called?
Horn of
Horn of
blasting.
Blasting.
Okay. Well, now that you've seen the place, yeah, it's making me itch. Let's get you out of here now. And she kind of ushers you, instead of leading you, kind of starts pushing at you to get you to head towards the door with the items that you've got. Yeah, urges you all back out. At which point, go. Oh, okay. I couldn't figure out why I was doing that, and then I suddenly realized why I was doing that. Never mind. And yeah, she turns. She pulls on the edge of the door, taps the crystal, and it kind of and shuts back down again. All of that energy kind of moving back down towards the crystal in the center after it shuts. Did some of you say something? Sorry. No. Okay. You know what? I told you that you would take the codex rod with you, but she actually, I got that wrong. I was looking at my notes of how I had this set up. She tells you, I'm going to actually hang on to this. We keep all of these codex rods. They've got the account of what you've done on them, both the story that you told and also the credits that you received and what you've used and what you haven't. So you can look it up at any point when you come back here. And we'll be good to go. So after a while, it'll get a lot to be hanging on to these yourself. And we like to have a good, accurate record of everything that's been taking place so that we can pass it on to the Bower King. And she says it just a little bit like, I don't know, like a sister would say about her brother, just a little bit derisively as she says it. In any case, well, is there anything else I can do for you?
I think that's it. Thank you for the help.
Not a problem. And she looks back at you, Wicket. Start work sketching on what you want there. We'll reconnect. I'll reach out to you. You gonna be in town?
Wicket looks at everyone else. Are we gonna be in town?
Unless we have another adventure in mind, I think we're going to lay low for a little while.
We'll probably be in town for a while.
Okay. Well, I'll look you up, or you can look me up. We'll find a way to reconnect. Not big on making plans, but I'm sure we'll be bumping into it. Where are you staying?
The inn.
The inn.
It's Quaylen's Rest, right, David?
Yes, it's Quaylen's Rest.
So Anasriele will supply that. Quaylen's Rest.
Oh, fancy digs. Sounds good. Our old Quaylen, he's a good egg. I like that guy. Okay. How about this? I'll track you down when I have free time. I'll ask around and I'll see what we can figure out. So, super. Okay. You remember the deal. If I see any bowing, any scraping, any doughy wide eyes, I swear. And she kind of holds up one of her fingers, the stabby one. And puts it back down again.
You won't get any admiration from me.
Sounds good. Exactly. I like it. That's what I like to hear. Okay, Wave up. You go get him. Go get him. And she kind of goes back. She pulls the codex rod. She goes to the second door. You see her kind of ching and open it, and she goes in, and it shuts behind her. She takes your codex rod in that other room and leaves you there. What would you like to do?
Now what? I'm going to turn to him.
So it's...
I personally think that maybe we should have a bit of a brainstorming session on names. As great as I think Weebop is, I think we should really go through all our options before we submit and label ourselves.
I think we should give Weebop a chance.
I really feel like it's grown on me at this point. The moment she said that people would fear it one day, I kind of took that as a personal challenge.
Is it growing on you like a good fuzzy feeling or like a deadly disease?
Growing on me as in it's a personal challenge and I want to make people fear it.
See, that really shows a lot about your personality, Anasriele.
I'm just gonna look at you. Oh, does it?
Okay, but seriously, what are we supposed to be doing?
Crickets. Cricket.
Well, I suppose we should go back to Quaylen's Rest if we have no idea.
No, it's boring there. We've seen Quaylen's Rest. We've been Quaylen's Rest. We've got a whole.
Supposed to be going back to the forest, or are we supposed to go somewhere else, or was that kind of it? Do we have a group still?
Well,
I
I say Anasriele has a date tonight, and we should get her something nice.
Shopping.
That goes
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that.
By the way, I don't know. Have you guys been keeping track of gold and things that you've like found and looted?
You never did currency.
haven't really
Told us we would do it
spent
later,
anything.
so mine just says dash.
I have 65 gold coins listed in mine.
Oh my gosh.
I have
I think that's what you picked up on the way.
coins currency, but like in my other possession stuff that I've written down. I have a couple stuff that's like worth gold, and I have that stuff I looted from the cobalt. So I have a small bag of gems worth 250 gold pieces, 8 gold rings, 1 gold ring with a blood red ruby, 4 daggers, 4 slings from that.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go catch that.
Wow, David, I see you play favorites because when we
she's the one that looted the bodies. She's the one that looted them.
Yeah,
so.
no one else looted. I did.
Some of you did. I feel like maybe Pim was in on looting at one point, so I think you ended up.
Pretty
with some
sure
stuff.
I did a few, but I don't think I ever.
I did.
I wrote it down somewhere, just not in my phone.
I did the chief, but I can't remember what I got from that. I know for sure I had the staff, and then I gave it to the oath taker, but I can't remember what I got off that. Past that.
Well, then you guys lost your stuff.
How much did you get in? How much did you say you had in gems, Wicket?
250 gold pieces worth of gems.
It's
and
actually
then 8 gold.
It's actually 350.
Oh,
I found my notes on it. 350 gold pieces worth of gems. Two golden rings with rubies in them. Is that what you had?
I had 1 gold ring with a blood red ruby.
And then 12 sort of common gold rings. So I wonder if these got split up between you and some other people. Maybe you found some of them and somebody else found some of the other ones, but I'd have to go back and double check. But you definitely have those things, and you definitely probably have also looted some things in the past. So yeah, we'll get that squared away, because it is kind of fun to have money and spend money in this game. It's worth keeping track of. So on days like this, if you want to go buy yourself like a nice outfit or something, good to know what you have and what you don't. And,
I can give you some of my gems and rings, and you can buy something nice with it.
I say we go shopping. I say Pim show us the town, because I think he knows the lay of the land, right?
And I can't ever say that I've necessarily gone shopping for this particular thing before, but sure.
It's okay. We'll buy you something nice too.
You would know right off the top of your head, Pim, and Anasriele, you have an inkling of this now, that mostly the market that's here is very kind of run of the mill. It's a place where local farm goods are. It's like a farmer's market with maybe some skins and hides from those that are hunters here, like Poe. There may be some things that have been carved rudimentarily out of wood that are sold by some of the locals in a marketplace. Mostly just goods that come in and are sold. The one place that seems to have more going for it here in town is either the armory, which you have to be a venturing hand to be able to shop at, and or Bandyman's Bounty is the one real store that's here in town.
In which case, Anasriele is going to kind of step forward and just say, if we're going shopping, I might know someone who could give us a good deal.
Who exactly?
I can't remember. Did you talk to them much
I didn't
about?
say who I got in a fight with. No, they know I got in a fight.
You really didn't tell them much of anything, right?
They wanted to know basic things like, did you win? Did you lose? And that's where I left it.
Did you kill someone?
Exactly.
The important things.
I didn't know you knew many people down here.
I don't, just the right people. And I'm going to laugh.
All right, well, show us the way then.
Do they have nice things or big things or shiny things? Or
That's a great question. I guess we're going to see.
Magic bread? Do they have interesting?
I'm just going to turn around and start heading in the direction that I need to go. So out and towards Bandyman's.
Exit the Hallow Ward. You take the main road that sort of runs through the city until you get to the area with more of the kind of work a day, kind of blue collar workers. They live. You work your way through some of the back alleys and things towards where the marketplace is, kind of at the center of the sprawl. And you all exit into this space. It's open. There are market stalls up around now with people in them hawking their wares to passerby. You do see what I mentioned before, mostly just fruit and vegetables and some skins, a few nice bigger skins, but mostly kind of squirrel and rabbit and things like that, kind of skins hanging, very kind of sort of American frontier style from some of these stalls. And you do see like one stall has some very crude sort of like coonskin caps, basically, kind of hanging from them. And so on and so forth. There's maybe a bit of leatherworking going on in places for some kind of basic things like belts or some simple sheaths for knives and swords. You see the octagon at the center, a raised platform. It's a decent size that has posts at each corner and kind of ropes that run around the edges of it. And currently, as you enter, you hear voices raised above the rest, and you can see that there are several kenku standing at each of the corners of this octagon. Each one has a small crowd of people around it, just a small group of people, and they seem to be kind of elaborately delivering the news. And as you pass through them, each kenku looks relatively similar. Hard to tell them apart from here. They're dressed in the same sort of uniform it's a vest that has many small pockets kind of stitched in the front of it, and kind of the same hat that they're wearing, and each of them is telling the news in a different voice. One has kind of a deep baritone sort of British voice, and one has kind of a kind of southern sound and drawl voice that's kind of warm and kind of nice. One's got more of a bombastic voice. One, Anasriele, only you really know this, has Bandyman's voice, a kind of piratey type sort of drawl to it that's being told, and you hear them kind of delivering some kind of basic news and ideas to people. And you see Bandyman's Bounty, the large kind of store front, has many windows in it, and some of those windows have sort of displays actually built into them, and a long sort of porch with its timber posts holding up a simple roof, and above the roof more windows and a big sign that says Bandyman's Bounty with kind of a motif of kind of grapevines up around the edges of it. And a very large B for Bandyman and a very large B for Bounty.
I'm going to stop as we kind of walk up and half glance at Pim and glance away since Pim knows the area and will probably know that this is a shadier place.
I'm just going to laugh and just say, the right friends indeed.
And just say, right? And kind of gesture, here we are.
Well, do you know where you're going to be going on your date tonight?
I'm going to look at Akerly and kind of size you up for a second. Say, no idea. To be honest, I kind of forgot about it. And shrug.
Man, do you just forget about every date?
No, but I think technically this is my first date.
What?
You? First date?
Everyone's first date.
That a big deal? First date?
For Anasriele.
Not that we would assume that you're someone who goes on a lot of dates or anything.
What would you be assuming?
And she went on a lot of dates.
Well, what are we looking for? And I'm going to turn to Akerly.
I don't know. I've never been on a date either. I was sort of vicariously living through you.
Anybody here gone on dates?
That's when I'm going to turn to Pimiver.
I'm just going to kind of start looking around.
On dates.
Oh, we're a bunch
Maybe
of
we
people who
should.
really live.
Maybe we should start out by finding someone who knows what they're doing then?
I bet Pim was super popular back in the day.
Back in the
Back
day.
that up with
Definitely.
Wouldn't exactly say super popular by any means.
I'm doubling down with Quinn now. I'm gonna walk towards the door and push it open and just look over my shoulder. Are you coming?
Yeah.
Yep.
Where are we going?
Inside.
Right, inside. What's inside? Who's inside? There's something grand inside? Big inside?
I guess you'll have to come see, Bitsy.
Oh, I hate to know. I wish everything was just outlined in gold and we knew what to do and what to say and
Well, for
So
you,
now we
it's
can
part of
follow.
it, isn't it, Mrs. This line of destiny?
Destiny is a fickle thing, my friend.
For us, it is. It's outlined for you.
See. Oh, yes.
I'm gonna now ignore this conversation and actually finish walking inside.
We all follow you. Well, depending on the type of date you're going on, you could be going horse riding. Actually, not likely for you. Never mind. Or you could be going.
I'm gonna kind of shrink down, like at the mention of a horse, and then when you say, "Well, not you," I'm gonna kind of look indignant. I could ride a horse if I wanted to.
You sure? I have a horse right now. We can test that theory.
Absolutely, I could ride it right now.
Really?
Yeah.
And I just start walking back out of the building. Come on, Nat, now!
I thought we were shopping.
I thought we were shopping too, and I'm gonna kind of roll up my sleeves and kind of set my shoulders. But apparently, I'm riding a horse, and I'm gonna throw out the door.
Comes before the fall.
Once we're outside, is it like big area or is it crowded or?
It's relatively crowded here in this sort of marketplace area. I mean, it's the middle of a day, so I guess it's not as crowded as it would be later, towards the end of a work day. So there are open-ish spaces, but I mean, there's nowhere that people won't notice that you're pulling out a horse and riding it.
Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna find the most open spot and then pull Dawn out from my necklace by saying Vada.
Okay. Did you say the least obvious place?
The most space.
Okay.
Open.
The least populated.
Right. Yeah. The best bet that you have is you kind of pick the best spot that's between the edge of the kind of circle where the stalls are on the outside edge. Then there's space. Then there's the octagon in the center. So it's going to have to be in between the stalls and the octagon. You just pick the place around the edge that has the least people in it at the moment. There's a few maybe sorrier looking stalls with some sort of less either less quality looking items or less exuberant stall owners, and you find a spot that's a little less. But there's like a stall with some sort of kind of toy wooden swords and little wooden bows kind of in front of it, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of kids or parents that are here at the moment to do it, but there's like an old gentleman kind of sitting in there with like a hat on his head, kind of looking like he's trying not to fall asleep, just kind of waiting for anybody that might come along. And yeah, you pull out your pendant, you whisper the word noir, and with a shrilling, boom, a horse comes out and kind of onto the ground and kind of stamps and shakes her head. You hear a few gasps as the old man kind of and kind of looks up at you, and several other people within striking distance kind of turn and suddenly are kind of wide-eyed, and you definitely seem to have drawn a bit of attention here. It's inevitable, really, the way things are situated.
Are you just carrying the saddle around?
Yeah. Nazir, did you follow?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna clearly be nervous, but also trying to put on a brave face, especially the bard in me as I notice the crowd.
I actually throw on the saddle on Dawn and start adjusting it, and I say, I'm being nice. I didn't have a magical saddle that just magically let me not fall off the horse. So this is really your lucky day.
I don't need a magical saddle.
You're gonna be stuck on a horse forever.
I'm gonna glare at Wicket. That's not what the saddle does. That's not what the saddle does, right? You're not stuck on the horse forever. Let's stop.
This is
One way to find out, Anasriele.
It specifically just said that you can't be dismounted while on this saddle.
So you can fall off.
Yeah.
On your own.
So it's specifically just you can't be dismounted by someone trying to dismount you.
So you can dismount yourself.
I guess we'll see.
Or fall.
Don't worry. We'll take it easy. Just you get on and we'll walk. Dawn's gonna be nice, right, Dawn?
Yeah, sorry. You kind of you see a very confused horse, kind of looking at you and then looking at Anasriele and then looking back at you, and you get this kind of strong. What is happening here? Is there a fight? Do you need me to help you fight something?
Yes. I need you to help me fight Anasriele's spirit. You need to be very heroic in this moment, Dawn. Your best self. So that annihilate her. Yeah.
She turns and kind of looks at Anasriele. You see her she takes a step or two towards you, Anasriele.
I take a step or two back and then kind of straighten up. I'm gonna re-straighten up at seeing the crowd again.
The horse then turns back.
Good horse.
The horse turns back and looks at you eagerly as she steps away, and you feel a very strong, this is dumb.
I half agree with you, but the other half is having a fun time messing with Anasriele.
Eagerly, your bully is coming out.
I haven't had fun like this in a while. Okay, Anasriele, come here. Dawn's not gonna bite you.
Your horse bites.
She's a war horse.
I mean, I'm gonna take like a very hesitant step towards Akerly, kind of rounding my way around Dawn towards Akerly, and take a single step and go, wow, your horse is much taller than I remember.
Oh, really? She's actually one of the smallest horses out there. But
really?
Yeah.
Yep. Kind of short for a horse.
I'm gonna take another hesitant step and say, you're really pretty. Pretty horse. Good, pretty horse. Kind of look back at the people again and kind of, you said Pim is the one who has like a lot of perception, right?
It's been a minute since I've looked.
Is that me?
I think you have the highest passive perception, yeah.
So Pim would be the one to notice if you notice. But you can tell as it kind of flashes across my face that I'm kind of beating myself up in this moment. All right, let's ride a horse. Not so hard, and I'm gonna roll up my sleeves again and take another step forward, but this time towards Dawn instead of Akerly.
Okay, I want you to do for me an animal handling check real quick.
I have a 17.
Not bad. You kind of put your hand out to Dawn, who kind of just looks at you, kind of through her kind of little lock of hair that kind of comes through, and she kind of looks at your hand and back at you, and then kind of lets her head kind of let your hand kind of nuzzle into the side of her hair, and she kind of whiffles a little softly at you.
I'm gonna kind of flinch back, but also keep my hand there. Good, pretty horse.
You get the sense, Akerly, through the bond that Dawn is saying she's pretty too. She likes your colors.
Oh,
you get the sense.
I repeat that word for word too, Anasriele. But you're pretty. I like your colors.
Oh, thank you. Oh, all right. I guess I'll just get on.
Yeah, so left foot to the stirrup and then just put yourself on. You know, in Alba, everyone, the second you're born, you're put on a horse. You'll do this just fine.
Babies do it back home, is what she's saying.
Yeah, that's what I got. And that's what I'm going to say. Babies do it back in your home. I'm certainly not a baby. And I'm gonna put one hand on the saddle, getting ready to kind of put my foot into the stirrup. And I'm gonna freeze. Certainly not a baby. I should probably take off my weapons, and I'm gonna start taking off my swords and stuff like that. Say, Pimiver, do you mind?
I'm gonna walk over to like take stuff from her and just say, I feel like this is probably pointless to say, but you don't actually have to get on the horse.
Oh, for
The
sure.
background wicket is gonna be like, go Anasriele.
I'm just gonna look at him and then hand him my sword and my instrument. All right, babies do it back where she's from, Pimiver. I am certainly not a baby, and I'm gonna walk back up to the saddle, put my hand on, and put my foot into the stirrup. Do I need to roll anything, David?
You can climb up onto the horse just fine. And then
Okay.
if you want to ride it, I'm going to make you do another animal handling check.
Okay, I'm gonna swing myself up into the saddle, and like as I do, I'm gonna go, oh. As I am now in the saddle, I'm like, see, not so bad from up here.
For sure. Good job. See, not
Please
that hard.
Please don't clap. I hear that makes horses nervous.
Oh, not Dawn. She loves the sound of clapping. It boosts her ego.
I'm gonna put both hands on the saddle in front of me and like death grip it. All right, I'm now on the horse. Ooh, it's very high up here, but all was well. And our deal was that I ride the horse. So I guess I will ride it. Where am I riding to?
I don't know. Dawn, take it away. Make her fearless.
The horse takes off underneath you.
I'm gonna scream.
Right. As and just kind of enters into a circuit kind of around the octagon. I need you to make an animal handling check to see how well you hold on, in essence.
Did not roll well.
You never do, and it's important.
I know, and it's the worst. When it's not important that I roll incredibly. Well, I have exactly 10. I have exactly 10. So I scream, the horse takes off.
You suspect after a moment, and Akerly knows this right away by looking at you, things would have gone much better if you'd actually grabbed the reins instead of the saddle. You take off with absolutely no way of controlling the animal underneath you other than your legs or your feet or your heels. And she begins to run around the edge of the thing. And it is a bumpy ride. You don't understand the rhythm of it at first. And honestly, if you weren't in the saddle of the cavalier, you would fall off. You all see as she kind of backwards and kind of leans over to one side. But her legs and her butt stay firmly in the saddle as she kind of goes around. But her body is kind of doing this as she goes around the edge of the thing. And
It's
Dawn
just
speeds up. You feel the equivalent of laughter through the bond, Akerly, as Dawn runs around the octagon in circles, feeling her passenger kind of flailing around puppet style on her back. You get a strong sense of a fine saddle indeed, kind of through the bond as well, as she acknowledges that Akerly shouldn't, or Anasriele shouldn't still be up there. So, yeah, she goes. What do you guys do?
Do we need to like stop her?
Oh no, she's fine. She's fine.
Doing this.
Is this horse inherently violent, or is this like out of the normal?
She's like a nice horse. Sometimes when you're nice to her, she likes warming up to people, I think. what I've noticed.
You say as Dawn passes you, and you hear Nazareth, "Ah!" as you kind of goes around the circle.
I pass you.
Not sure she took enough time to warm up to her, maybe, or
Hey, Curly, I'm serious. Stop your animal.
But I mean, she's staying on, so that's good.
Yeah, very good, very good, very good.
Yeah, I mean, she could be.
So do you want to bet on the horse or an Asriel?
No, it's right at that moment when you say that you hear, "Get me off of this horse!" as I pass you.
It's really a bet between the horse and the saddle. So
Yeah, I whistle for Dawn to come back.
And very obligingly, the next time she comes around, as you come up to Akerly, you feel Dawn slow. She slows at the very last second, and kind of slides to a stop, and your body kind of up over the kind of neck and like front pommel of the saddle, and then you kind of jerk back into your seat, dusty and wind blown, and eyes wide, and she's just underneath you.
Now, before you start cursing at me, sorry.
I rode your horse.
Then
I'm just gonna let myself. I'm not even gonna try and get down. I'm literally just gonna fall out of the saddle. I'm like push myself off.
Push her back up onto the saddle before she can fall off. No, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. No.
I'm gonna pull myself back in. Are you kidding me?
No. You see, I mean, you did not ride the horse. Technically, the horse rode you, but
I'm gonna glare at Akerly.
First off, I grab her hands on the rein. This is your friend. This is the tether between you and Doc. Now just relax.
It's gonna come out like icy cold.
You've never ridden a horse before, ever.
I refuse to comment.
Okay. Relax. Don't.
I am relaxed.
No, you are not.
I am very relaxed.
Loosen your leg. Just feel down. You two together.
Ciao.
And so much more than anything you can run from. You guys are partners, okay?
Nope, I'm done. And I'm gonna push myself out of the saddle. I rode your horse. And I'm gonna like very gently pat Dawn's neck. Thank you. And I'm gonna turn to Pim and start taking my stuff back and putting it on. What a ride, I did it. And I'm gonna wave to the crowd.
And they are paying attention. You see that most of them are laughing behind their hands at this point at the display that has just gone around. As you are kind of walking away from the horse, you actually hear one kind of gentleman in one of the stalls kind of whispering to one of his buddies, "That's her, I swear that's her," as you kind of walk past. And
I hear that?
Yes, yeah. And the other guy's like,
I'm going to stop and turn around.
Mm-hmm.
Do you gentlemen know me?
And their eyes kind of widen. I mean, you're the one beat up Jim last night, right?
I'm going to turn to my companions and then back towards these guys. How is Jim?
Oh, he's fine. He'll be fine in a day or so. Pretty tough guy, that Jim. Yeah, he's
I know it firsthand.
Doesn't hold a grudge, but he's, mentioned you a few times, and we're having fun ribbing him, getting beat by anyway. I mean, it was a heck of a fight.
But a girl? And I'm going to step forward and kind of get in their face when they say that. I suppose that you gentlemen would not like to try your hand the way Jim did.
Do an intimidation check.
Meanwhile, in the background, the rest of us are just going, we really need to stop letting her out.
24.
They kind of step back and kind of widen their eyes.
I'm not sure being out in public is such a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, we're not fighters, ma'am. Just spectators. Lady. I was gonna say lady. Got beat by a lovely and powerful lady.
That's right. So I suppose you should leave Jim well enough alone, huh?
Poor Jim.
Okay. Sounds good.
Now,
Will
where
do.
can I find the Baron? I have important business, and I'm gonna fold my arms and kind of glance at Acorly and back to them.
Well, it's not the Baron, it's just Baron. But it looks like the Baron has found you. And you turn around, you can see that there's a figure now leaning against one of the posts, holding up the roof of the porch of the store nearby. Bushy, curly, black hair, black beard, black chest hair coming out in curls from his kind of open shirt. You see kind of chains, like necklaces kind of dangling down and rings on his fingers as he kind of looks out at you with a smile on his face. Looks like you're better on land than you are on the back of a horse, but, we've all got our weaknesses.
I'm gonna kind of take this, and you will physically see that I am taking it and swallowing it down. I suppose we do all have our flaws.
Well, we can't be all things to all people, as my mom used to tell me. Who are your friends? And he'll kind of take a step or two down onto the ground near the porch, kind of looking at your group.
I'm gonna turn around. This is Baron Bandyman. These are my friends.
I'm gone. I'm actually riding my horse around the lot saying, Anasriele, look, it's not that hard!
I'm gonna look for a second physically frustrated, and then I'm gonna paste a smile back on my face.
As she passes around, smile on Bandyman's face. Well, it's very nice to meet the friends of the Manslayer herself. You're all very welcome here, in the center of things. And yes, though I am not the Baron, we all know there's only one Baron in town. I am a Baron, but you can call me Bandyman. And
Self-proclaimed Baron.
well, it's best that we not give titles to ourselves. We let others give them to us, as I always say. If people call me Baron, it's up to them. And what they mean by it's all up to them. All I know, my mom gave me the name Baron, and my profession has been taken up as my last name. The Bandyman. That's about as far as I'll go. As Akerly comes by, standing in the saddle this time, making one more revolution pass and waving at you as she goes by. Are you here to shop, or are you here to gab?
And mutter like, what a show off.
What can I help you with? Have you come back to talk a little bit more about our, the arrangement that we mentioned the other night?
I'm gonna suddenly look up at my friends and then look at him. No, I'm not here to talk about that. We're here to shop.
Very well. Well, I've got the best shop in town. Probably within 50 miles of here. So come on in. Take a look around. It won't be as...
Yes, and I'm sure since we're such good friends that you'll give us a deal.
We can see what we were willing to work out. Seeing as we're friends now, we just do things for each other, yes? Yeah, let's go see what trouble we can get you into. And he kind of steps back up towewards the doors.
Hey, girlie, we're going shopping!
I'm coming! And I just ride back up, pop off, and Wada and Dawn's back.
Like almost as she hits the ground, Nuada and Dawn kind of fades into kind of golden mist and enters into the necklace. You hear more gasps and sort of oohs and ahs. You see Bandyman's eyes kind of light up as he looks at you. Well, that's quite the item that you've got there. Maybe wouldn't be flashing it around quite so much. You never know who's watching. And he says, come on in, let me show you around. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
I'm going to turn to Akerly.
You still haven't told me what kind of date you're going on. So I don't know, just clothes, fancy. Are you going to dinner?
I'm gonna turn.
If
to
you
him.
remember, because it's been a minute, when he mentioned doing something together, he mentioned maybe just going to get a bite of food and a drink and just having a chance to talk.
I
Whatever
do
that means.
recall something about food, something about talking. It's not my strong suit. And I'm gonna laugh and turn to Baron and just say, I'm being outfitted for a date. What would you recommend?
He looks back for a second, takes a step away, and kind of looks you up and down. Well, I mean, you're quite a sight to begin with. You're looking for something, a bit of a change of mood?
I'm going to turn to Akerly.
I don't know. Do you like the dude? Do you not like the dude? Do you want to say hi, or do you want to say hi?
Fair point.
I suppose whatever is customary. And I'm gonna look at Baron questioningly.
Might I ask, who is it you're going on a date with?
A nobody.
Confident.
What's that?
I'm gonna say a nobody, and then immediately kind of check myself and say, I mean, a guard.
Whoa, one of the Hollow Guard, huh? Well,
Yeah,
that's
that sounds
interesting.
right.
Well, those
anymore.
most of those Hollow Guard fellas seem to be a bit stiff in the collar, formal types. Some of them can
Some formal time.
be a bit looser than the rest, but you might want to go
Something
maybe just a bit formal, more formal than what you've got on now. Unless you just want to be you. It's up to you. I mean, I won't tell you how to dress. I've got one or two things inside that are a bit formal for the ladies, and it's really for the spouses and the partners of some of the officers here in town that I keep things like this. So, would you be interested? Taking a peek?
Yes.
Come with me. And he takes you inside, and you come into a very, very well stocked, pleasant looking sort of general store. It's several rooms actually that have larger open doorways with no doors inside of them that connect certain sections, and each section has different items in them. You can see that there's kind of good old fashioned dry goods. There's some kind of dried food
It's
in
much
places.
nicer than I expected.
We do try to keep a nice place around here. Thems who hang around these parts late at night can be a little bit rough and tumble, but even during the day, it's mostly just regular folk. You can see that just a variety of different things in town, regular stuff that you might find in a general store. Food for the road, sort of supplies, some basic sort of tools and kind of weapons, but mostly kind of daggers and kind of simple things. Here, there are a variety of things. He takes you through a room through a door into a kind of a back room. You can see that there are a variety of clothes here. Most of the things that he has here are geared towards the kind of workers here in town, farmers, hunters, timbermen, and things that do a variety of the sort of odd jobs around. Simple kind of linen and maybe woolen kind of clothing, and breeches and kind of shirts and things in here. But in one corner, you can see that there are a few fancier things. There are some hats, some kind of fancier looking hats that some of more kind of upper class ladies might wear to a more formal shindig, set on some rough-ish looking, some slightly weathered, beaten looking sort of mannequin type heads that have been created kind of out of wood on there. And there is also one or two like wooden mannequins upon which a dress or two have been placed. Most of what you see right off the bat are kind of light colored and with kind of a lot of kind of lace and kind of floofy sort of kind of puffy sleeves and sashes and things kind of thrown around them, and he's got a couple of these in a variety of things. I guess think kind of Jane Austen, I would say, kind of Emma-y type, Pride and Prejudice-y, like when they dress up. I would say Emma, because there's more of that in Emma. Style things that are sort of there. And then he also has behind that some things that are a little slinkier, and a bit more loungy feeling. Does that make sense? Like going more to like maybe more of a 20s type speakeasy sort of environment than like a Jane Austen style soiree. He's got one in there that is kind of a maroon, sort of kind of a reddish, kind of pinkish sort of color. He's got a kind of straight up black affair that is just basically a little black dress in the corner. He's got a few options there in terms of stuff, and then he's also got one sharp looking sort of suit that is on one of the mannequins that is colorful. It's got kind of a slack style pants with a really nice looking kind of colorful jacket that has kind of tails on it and a vest underneath it with a shirt below it. Beside it, looks at you as you kind of pull back and kind of peruse things. I mean, you can see there's a few formal options, but I'm not sure what kind of taste you have in terms of what you'd be comfortable in.
Well, I'm going to kind of look around for a minute and start thinking through the fact that I'm actually going on a date with an elf and how I want to be perceived on a date with an elf. I suppose basic, and I'm going to point at the black one.
Okay. He looks at it, and he looks at you.
Do you buy things here?
What's that?
Do you buy things here?
I mean, yeah.
From customers?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you've got something to sell, I'd be happy to take it. A bit of a markdown so that I can be sure to sell it again. But have something that you'd be looking to offload, that'd be fine. Or maybe barter or trade.
Any interest in pieces of ettercap?
Really? I actually do have a gentleman that is connected with me that knows what to do with such things. Yes, I mean, if I'd have to take a look at them and see what you've got. But I'd be happy to maybe do it in trade, or I could, sell you the dress and just give you some gold for the ettercap.
Buy it in gold and take the dress out of whatever we agree upon.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna pull out. I don't know. You didn't tell me how many I have, David. I know I did this to several ettercap bodies.
Okay.
So you just told me to mark that I have ettercap claws and mandibles and things like that.
Okay.
But never actually told me a number, but I know we did it to 4, 5, or 6.
Right. So you have quite a variety of things that you have that you kind of pull out. He takes you into a kind of a back area where you can pull them out neatly without getting any sort of mess on anything. Pull them out and sort of take a peek through them, and he sees that some of the things that he cares about are in place. The hide is hard, and there are some sort of poison glands that are left that he hints that he has an alchemist that will be interested in. I think he, all told, kind of looks at you and says, well, I mean, all of these things told, looks like you've had these for a little while, but we should be able to get something out of them. I'd be willing to offer you 5 gold pieces for the lot.
Out of character, David, is that fair?
You, why don't you do a check for me? Let's have you do a... This would probably be a history check. You're kind of trying to get a vibe of value? Cultural thing?
I have a 17.
With a 17, you get the sense that it is a fair opening offer. It feels like the sort of offer that would be an opening offer from somebody who expects there to be a back and forth.
Well, if you're just going to waste my time, I'm going to start gathering things up.
Well, I mean, did you have a number in mind?
What's your highest price?
Let's see. How about...
Do I know what these are worth, David? Based on that roll?
I don't know that you would, just based on your background, if it's something that you are proficient in really at all. And with that 17, you wouldn't have a solid sense, although you would guess that being an opening offer, getting at least another 2 or 3 gold out of this guy, you'd be coming out pretty good. So, as an ending point. So, he says to you, how about this? How about I'll give you 5 gold pieces and I'll throw in the dress.
Sounds fair. And I'm going to stick out my hand.
Yeah. And he puts his out as well, shakes it, and says to you, you should be able to stop the whole show wearing that thing to this date of yours later. The Hallow Guard, nonetheless.
Oh, good, because I want information. And I'm going to just kind of chuckle and walk it back towards the main room.
He chuckles as well. That I can understand. And he follows you back out to the main area. Well, if there's anything else that anybody needs...
As I walk past and just kind of rip the dress off of where it's hanging and put it over my arm. Say my gold.
Follow me. And he takes you up to kind of a front, a kind of office counter area, and he settles up with you, gives you your 5 gold pieces. As he is giving you the 5 gold pieces, though, once again, he looks up at you. Seriously, though, that thing we talked about. Let me know. I've heard about you and your friends now. I think you might be just the ones to make a successful go of it. But
just said you want all of our help.
I'll hang on to the offer. There are other venturing hands that might be interested. But I'll be holding on to it for you first. You'll get a first crack at it if you'd like.
Well, like I said, I'll consider it.
He nods at you. Yeah.
Did you guys find anything? And I'm going to turn back to my friends.
Nope.
I don't know if there's anything, if you had in mind anything otherwise.
Tim, I think that suit would look spiffy on you. Spiffy.
It kind of looks like she was like about to fall asleep, and then she like wakes up and just like, nope, ready to go.
You were sleeping after you guys are the ones who dragged me shopping?
I just went along with the people who were dragging you.
I thought it was quite invigorating, watching this whole ordeal, and I learned a lot about dating and horses and people in general.
I'd rather bang some stuff with a hammer personally, but that's just me.
And for whatever it's worth, as a reminder, most of you heard a bunch of different things to maybe be able to piece together a little bit of what happened to Anasriele last night that she hasn't told you. Several of you would have been close enough to hear them mentioning Jim and getting in a fight, and hear Bandyman's kind of hints at getting back to him about something they talked about, and that's about as far as you know. But okay, you guys head back to the inn, or
Is there anything else we need to do?
No.
You need to get ready for your date.
I love that all of you are way more invested in this date than I am.
I don't even care if it doesn't go well. You're going on a date.
I'm just gonna look at and go, get ready. I'm going like this, except in this.
Wait, no, I mean, you have to put on the dress, and I'm assuming you don't want to do that here.
I'm not shy, and I'm gonna look around.
No, we're gonna go back.
We're the leader, and I'm gonna walk out the door.
okay, you guys head back to the inn.
Wait.
And you return to the inn, and as you enter to head to your rooms and get yourselves ready and so forth, taking your time, you've had a bit of a leisurely afternoon compared to the last few days of adventure, which maybe is nice in a way. But you enter in, and as you do so, the serving girl that you see here normally, actually not the serving girl, it's probably there's a girl on the inside. There's a counter on the inside where people can be checked into rooms and stuff, and there's a girl that usually works that counter, and she comes running up to you, holding a kind of small little folded bit of paper. Yes, this came for you, Lady Anasriele, while you were out, and she hands it to you, and then scurries away.
Okay, I'm gonna read it.
You open it, and you can see that there is a message from Elkia, and it says, "I've sent this note just to confirm our meeting later this evening. Once again, wanting to keep it informal, just some food and a drink and conversation. Perhaps you'd be most comfortable in a comfortable place. So I've asked Master Pohlun to hold a table aside for us at his place. I'll meet you there this evening. If you've changed your mind or there are any problems, just send a note back with the girl that I left this with and let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you this evening." Signed, Elkia of the Hallow Guard.
For half a second, I'm going to consider bailing. Shake my head and just kind of nod firmly and fold it back up, not saying anything to anybody else.
Okay. So you spend some time getting ready?
I spend 2 minutes getting ready. Just change into said dress.
By now,
I'm
after...
going to kind of look at myself in whatever mirror I'm standing in front of, because it is definitely the least flashy thing I have ever worn. I kind of stare as if I don't recognize myself for a second.
Right. Yeah, you cut a good figure in this this dress. It's a kind of almost flapper style sort of black dress that kind of falls down. It actually kind of works with the kind of beret and the feather and some things that you have going on, and so on and so forth as you are kind of there. The day has moved on towards evening. The time that it took you to go to the armory and deal with that, go to the store, ride the horse, do all the stuff and the travel in between. The sun is definitely heading down towards evening now, and dinner is about to be served. Excuse me. Here at Pohlun's Rest. So are you all gonna kind of stay near in the vicinity? How are you guys playing this out?
I
Can
think
I go
dinner,
intimidate you?
dinner sounds good, guys. I think
Yeah, dinner.
go down and have dinner.
Yeah.
Probably in the same room.
We'll all talk about Anasriele as she goes and eats somewhere else with someone else who she hates more than us for mysterious reasons.
Where's Anasriele eating? Maybe we could go there.
Wicked.
Let's disguise ourselves.
I'm not gonna
Maybe
say
just in case
anything.
the elf guy isn't all that good or something. We could be there just in
Wait, where are you guys? I knew I was going to
back
be.
at
Where
the
are
end.
you?
We're eating dinner.
I
You guys
mean,
are just
you
not
guys
there?
all ended up back at the place. I imagine you kind of went your separate ways while Anasriele was changing. I don't know if you guys went to your rooms or if you kind of hung out down in the inn. If there's anything else that you wanted to or needed to do before dinner, which isn't really that far off at this point. Maybe 30, 40 minutes after getting back is about when they would probably start.
So you guys are back in kind of the common area?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna come in right as Wicket pipes up, going, "Where's Anasriele eating? We could go there too."
And you guys are in the common room.
Yeah.
You actually hear the voice of the Baron. Well, Elkia asked me to set aside a table just in the corner over here, and I guess it's like what's happening here.
It's perfect.
Oh, I do wish that you hadn't told them that. So I'm gonna sit next to everybody.
I think we'll eat here as well.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Sure, sounds good. Can we get the closest table?
No.
I second that notion.
Okay, we can have.
I'm gonna look at the Baron. No.
I'll settle for one table in between us.
I was gonna
No.
say second.
Set them 5 tables away. 5.
You won't hear anything then.
4 tables.
5
Three
tables.
tables.
4 tables. Final offer.
It's not your call to make.
4
5
tables.
tables away.
What if he's a psychopath or a sociopath?
Let's see.
Another
Anasriele, give me a persuasion check. And let's see. Either Wicked or Bitsy can do a persuasion check because you were the most active. I feel like that I noticed trying to get him to get you closer to her.
What's your persuasion?
I'm rolling what, David?
Persuasion.
Can I do my
Speaking of
true strike cantrip to give me advantage?
That's only on attacks.
Yes. Persuasion. I have a.
Are you both
4
rolling?
persuasion. Can we add our dice together? We're both little
No.
people.
You
one
can
whole
assist each other though, because you're both gnomes and you're both super kind of
I'm
small and
assisting
cute and
you guys.
novelty here. So one of you roll with advantage.
Okay. Ooh,
Anasriele, just a
roll.
straight roll from you. What'd you get, Anasriele?
Who's gonna roll with advantage?
Okay, what's your persuasion?
I have a +5 on persuasion.
Okay, you roll.
With advantage.
With advantage, roll twice.
23.
I got a 26.
Handar
You
kind of
made
goes.
me nervous when you said you had a +5. I was like, oh, this is gonna be closer than I was hoping.
Handar, not realizing what he had started, kind of tennis match watches you all kind of come at him about where to sit, whatever, and he kind of ends up looking at you, and Asriel, he kind of winks at you. He's like, I'll take care of it. And he settles you in a kind of corners, the corner that you've become comfortable with. It's kind of the corner where you end up eating a lot
my
of times.
corner.
Near the fireplace, a good view of the stage for any music that might be happening. And I've got a special table for the rest of you. Come follow me. And he moves you guys across the room towards where the bar kind of side of the room is, closer to the stage, closer to the bar. And at least three or four tables away from Anasriele, across the room.
Can we still hear what's happening?
What's that?
Can we still hear them?
I mean, with the other kind of talking you'd have to be real quiet and listen real hard. I'll let you do a perception check in a minute when the action starts. So, and you settle in.
Action.
And it actually isn't very long of you kind of sitting there at the table waiting before the door opens. And you see Elkia walk in. He's actually has changed out of his Hallowguard garb and is just wearing a nice outfit, a nice looking outfit with kind of a simple sort of dinner jacket kind of thing over a kind of simple white linen shirt underneath. And it's very, very simple and unadorned, but the colors all work very well with his whole tone. His kind of bluish skin and his short white hair as he kind of steps in. He looks at you and he smiles as he sees you, and he kind of nods and moves to take a seat with you at the table.
I push through a grimace and smile back.
Awesome. Lady Anasriele, it's good as always to see you. I just want to start by saying again how much I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to speak with you.
You're welcome.
May I sit? Is that okay?
Yes. Please. It would be better than sitting by myself and having all of my friends, and I'm gonna look over at their table.
He kind of
staring
turns
at you across the room.
His eyes kind of brighten. Oh, hi. And he waves in your direction
Don't
as
wave
well.
at them, and I'm gonna push his hand down. You only encourage them.
Well, it is good to have friends, right?
I suppose. Do you have many friends?
I have a few. I've got a couple of good friends. He says this as he sits down. Good friends here in the Hallow Guard. One or two of which I got very lucky were also consecrated out of the uplifted hand to join the Bower King and our cause here. And Oz is a good friend of mine. She is part of a tribe, a human tribe that is connected with Rionia, and is quite good with a bow. And we used to hunt together a little bit up in the kind of frigid north. And we were good friends, and so we were gratified to be consecrated together. And beyond that, I've made a few friends here, but most of those that I call very good friends are home, back home in the north. But you've got a whole handful of friends, a whole venturing handful of friends, you might say.
Yes, though I don't know them well yet, to be honest. We haven't been together very long and happened upon each other by chance.
Well, it's surprising, seeing as how close it seems that you all are, and also from what I hear, how well the oath has settled upon you. Usually that only happens when there is a decent connection between those who are a member of the hand. So, that is saying something.
Well, they are skilled and, quite frankly, easy to care for.
Very nice. Tell me, have you thought of a name yet?
I'm gonna straight up laugh, like, loudly it can be heard throughout the room laugh. Wicket named us. Wicket named our group this afternoon. I believe it was Way Bap or something like that. The acronym of all of our names.
Oh, I was thinking maybe it was a gnomish word that meant something fierce, but
well, to be honest, she says that everyone will fear us eventually.
I imagine so. The rate that you're all going, although you're all so delightful, those who know you will hardly have a chance to be scared. Yes? He looks kind of straightforwardly at you as he says this.
This is the first time that I'm gonna kind of stumble in my words and just say, Yes. No. I suppose.
He leans in just a little bit. Nothing against your friend, but perhaps you all can workshop it a little bit.
I'm gonna lean in a little bit as well and look over at my friends and say, to be honest, it's grown on me, but don't tell them that.
Well, maybe it will stick. He kind of reaches out to a glass that's been set down for you. He says, I took the liberty of pre-ordering for us. And he lifts the glass. A toast to Waybop.
I grab my glass and raise it as well. Waybop.
He kind of clinks and takes a drink. I've got to admit, I have quite a few questions about you. Bitsy, right about this moment, as you're sitting at the table and eating, you have a very sudden kind of spike of pain shoot through your head. And your vision goes blindingly amber. As you recognize the color of your destiny in a way that is so powerful that it is painful. It blinds you to everything. It is a wall of solid amber. You can barely see through it as you kind of blindly sort of look around the room. And it does this for a moment as the sound of Elkia's voice sort of talking over the crowd goes to a buzz, kind of a numb sort of background noise. And the amber color sort of kind of cracks and kind of shatters a little bit. And then it whisks off to the side, and you turn and follow it as the rest of the room comes into view, as it moves in the direction of the door that enters in from outside into the inn. And it lands on the door and highlights the entire kind of archway and the doorway in solid amber. And as soon as this happens, the door flies open, and you see a small figure stumble in to the inn, and you hear a bit of a sob kind of come from the figure, and it takes a moment for you all to recognize the form of Cole. His hair is curly, but it's matted on one side, kind of pushed to the side. You see blood streaming down one side of his face. His face is hard to even recognize. He's taken a beating, and you can see his face is swollen and it's changing colors, and he stumbles into the room with a sob and kind of enters in and turns, and he looks to you, Akerly, across the room, kind of sees you, and he reaches a hand out and he says, "Lady, help!" And he kind of stumbles to the floor and passes out on the floor. And that is where we're going to end this episode tonight. It is a little after 9, so about 3 hours since we got together in the first place, but a couple hours worth of role playing. And one of our number has to get up very early tomorrow to take somebody to the airport. So before we get into anything too dramatic, we'll kick off with that drama next week and find out what it is that is waiting for us from there. Anywho, great job, everybody. It was a fun episode. A little bit of shopping is always a little bit of fun. And we'll figure all that out kind of as we go. And I'm kind of excited for what waits for you all on the other side of this coming week. We'll see what happens from here. So awesome. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end things there. We will not have a break. We'll just be going straight to the end today for a variety of reasons, but we'll pick this up again next time and continue to kind of barrel our way towards the end of this particular sort of arc that we've had with these 5 incredible players that we have here this evening. Is there anything else anybody wants to say or that we need to do before we jet. Thanks for playing, y'all.
The suspense. The suspense.
Right. Awesome. Well, I think that's going to do it. So until next time, have a great week, and we will catch you on the flip side. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.